Hey everybody, and welcome to the call. As normal, I've got my good friend and fellow co-creative ASM, Dan Ashburn, with me.
Hey guys.
Yeah, he's trying to pretend he hasn't got a hangover, and yet
I don't know what you're talking about, Rich.
yeah, put it this way: if it was me having a hangover, I wouldn't be here. Yeah, so I can't believe that we're in week 8. Like, this is the 8th coaching call we've done. It just seems to have flown by. Totally crazy. And the thing is, it always creeps up on us every time. But let's get something out the way first. Let's see if you can actually see and hear us. So we've literally run out of things to ask. So what do I prefer, Christmas Day or New Year's Eve? So nice, simple question. Just pick one, and you might get lucky and get the right answer. I'm just waiting for it to live update. Come on. I'm not saying come on to you guys. I'm saying come on to the live update, honest. Right, Lacar says New Year's Eve. Enhanced Life says Christmas Day. Come on, there's got to be more of you. Let's see some more. Okay, we've got New Year's Eve, New Year's Eve, New Year's Eve, New Year's Eve. Yes, New Year's Eve is the answer. Actually, we're just talking, myself, Caleb, and Dan, a little bit earlier about a Christmas party. My response was basically bar humbug. Steve Hamlet, the Swedish chef, his answer is Austin. Not sure if he was trying to preempt things and guess that I was going to ask, where am I? Because yes, I am in Austin, but there's nothing out the window, particularly that would tell you it's Austin, unless you actually came from Austin. So no special announcements about what module's going live, because the last one, number 8, went live last week. But I do just briefly want to tell you we're not going anywhere. But before I go through all that, we're going to bring Dan on because he's got some stuff he wants to talk to you about, and it's really important. So please do pay attention.
Yes, guys, hello. Week 8. It's been a crazy ride. And as Rich says, we're not going anywhere. But at this moment in time, it's a really good time of the year to talk about this, as well as a really good point in your current journey with the program with ASM. And that is understanding what is the formula for success. And everyone's going to be at different points in that journey right now. Some will have already found a product. Some will be still frustrated trying to find a product. Others are sourcing. I know there's even people that have already got products live by now already. And it's not that anyone is in the right place. You are in the right place for you in your points in the journey. But when it comes to the formula for success, there is a formula, and that is clarity plus action. Clarity plus action equals success. Now, without the clarity and lots of action, you can hustle every day, spend 10, 12 hours a day at your desk working on stuff. But because you don't have a plan that you're following or any clarity in the actions you're taking, often what happens is you just end up going around in circles and not really achieving a lot. And there's a lot of people that are in that situation. I commonly refer to them as busy fools because they don't have that clarity and that plan of action they're following. But by making the right decision and investing into Amazing Selling Machine, you have taken a huge shortcut on having the clarity done for you in a step-by-step blueprint that tells you exactly what you need to do and how to do it. So if we come back to that clarity plus action, clarity is taken care of, the plan is there, the blueprint is there, and that blueprint is called Amazing Selling Machine. It's now up to you to take action to deliver upon that clarity. So that clarity and that plan, you need to now take action to deliver that plan. And in doing so, you have to take it one step at a time, one action at a time, at your own pace that's right for you. When you look at the whole workloads as a whole picture, it might look or feel quite overwhelming, but when you break it down into bite-sized chunks, it is very manageable. And then you just work through it, completing one action at a time. But before doing that, it's really important to create a plan. So Amazing Selling Machine is a step-by-step blueprint that's going to deliver success, providing you do the work and put the effort in and complete the actions. But if you can create a personalized plan to you, a week-on-week plan of the actions that you need to take to get there, a good way to do this is to sit down one evening when the kids are in bed and you've got some brain space and think, what is your 1-year vision for 2020? If you were to look, if you could get in a time machine, skip forward to this moment in time, a year from now, the end of 2020, what does that look like? Like where are you in the world? What's your living situation? What have you accomplished that year, both financially, which the reason we're all here is, yes, to make money out of the brands that we build on Amazon and the physical products, but what does that money enable? What does that money buy? Rich talks a lot about this in the why posts within the community, and you've all done a great job of posting on that thread. But really sort of visualize, what does 1 year from now look like? And what have you accomplished? And then once you've got a real clear vision, both personally, professionally, financially, family, friendships, break down what milestones do you need to deliver, or what milestones do you need to achieve to deliver that vision? So what would you have to have done, physical action, what would you have had to have done in 2020 to deliver that vision of wherever you see yourself a year from now? And then write down all of those major milestones. And then under each milestone, what major action steps do you need to complete or achieve to achieve each milestone? So maybe first milestone is pick an audience. Maybe second milestone is get a product. Maybe third milestone is source that product. For instance, like what steps do you need to deliver within each one of those milestones to deliver that result? And then write that down under each milestone. And then when doing this, consider, what is the one thing that you can do right now that makes everything else easier or unnecessary? And this is following a very famous book. But yeah, what's the one thing that if you were to complete that one thing now, makes everything else easier or unnecessary, and prioritize that action? Because by completing that action, that's going to make everything else easier or unnecessary. And that action is often the thing that you procrastinate on. It sits there at the bottom of your to-do list. You start your day, you open up your email client, you start going through emails because it's an easy thing to do, but it's actually the worst thing to do for productivity, because you should be completing the major action items at the start of your day when you've got the most motivation, the most energy, and prioritize the stuff that's going to move the needle forward in your success journey. And those action items should be delivering your milestones. The milestones then deliver the goal, which is your vision for 2020. When doing this, when creating this plan, remember why you decided to embark on this journey in the first place. Like, why did you make the decision to commit to yourself to being an entrepreneur, commit to being successful, to change your current situation, whatever that might be? Like, why did you do that? And then visualize that, remember, look at that, and take that and spend an hour, take a bit of time away, spend an hour, get some magazines, print images off the internet, and visualize that onto a board. So for me, in my office here, on the wall over there, I might spend a couple of hours and just stick up my sort of visualization for 2020 in terms of what does 2020 look like for me, in family, in friends, in personal and financial. And I might stick photos up so that when I'm sat at my desk grinding away, completing those action steps to deliver those milestones, which in turn are going to deliver my goal and fulfill my vision, I'm constantly reminded of why that is. Because when you hit those hard times, or when you hit those frustrating times, you spend 3 hours going down a rabbit hole on a product to find it's not viable. You look up and you look at those photos and you remember why you're doing this. So for me, it's my boys. It's about inspiring the next generation as a major why. But for 2020, there's certain growth goals, personally, professionally, family, that I have, and I will visualize them and put them on the board. So every time I'm getting a bit frustrated, or I'm finding it hard, or my motivation's quitting, or I've been sat at a computer 8 hours, my decision fatigue is kicking in, which is a real thing, and my motivation's wavering, and I want to quit in the process, I look up and I remember why I'm doing that. But with all of this, setting your vision, determining what major milestones do you need to hit and what actions do you need to take to deliver those milestones, ultimately you and only you are responsible for your own success. You have the plan, you have the clarity, you now have to do the work to get that done. You might come across a product in a couple of hours of research, it happens. In other cases, it might take you 2 weeks of research, 3 weeks of research to find that starting product, but you will find it. You just have to put in the work and keep pushing and have belief in, remember why you're doing it. If you implement, there is almost guaranteed in success, providing you take daily action towards that goal. So not sporadic action, so you're having to remember where you were. If you carve out, as we talked about, I think it was module 1 of ASM, and I know Mike talks about it a lot and Rich talks about it a lot on these coaching calls. If you carve out time in your calendar to dedicate to this process, whatever that might be, 2 hours a day, 1 hour a day, whatever you can afford to attribute to this business, and take that daily action, you will be successful in this business. We've been around long enough now. We've helped thousands of members be successful in this business. I've been behind thousands of Amazon businesses that are successful. And yes, it takes work, it takes hustle, it takes grind, but providing you take that daily action, it will be successful. And then try and find someone to hold you accountable. There are studies that have proven if you can get an accountability partner, you are 95% more likely to be successful. 95%. Now, it really helps if you would find someone that you respect, you care about their opinion, you care about what they think. So find someone in that position, or maybe a friend that's going through the journey. Maybe you came into ASM with a friend, or you were referred by a friend, and set up a little accountability pod where you meet once a week and you share with each other what your intention is for that week, what you're going to get done, and what your goal that you're going to accomplish that week is. So this week might be, I need to find a new product for my next to release in my brand. And then the following Monday, you meet again and you say, did you, not the ins and outs and all the dog ate my homework, but did you accomplish that? Yes or no? Simple yes or no. Did you do that or not? And hold yourself accountable to someone, and find someone to hold you accountable, because it does improve success, and it's been proven to improve success by up to 95%. And within that journey, don't forget to reward yourself. So when you find your product, maybe incentivize yourself with a date night with your husband or wife, or your boyfriend or girlfriend, fiance, etc. When you've got that product sourced and you've done the product sample testing, reward yourself for each milestone in the journey. Once you make your first sale on Amazon, which is a big, most people remember their first sale, reward yourself. Once you get to your first $5,000, your first $10,000, your first $25,000, reward yourself. There was a badge flying around in the community where someone's got to a few of high six figures in around 7 months from ASM10. So it can be done, and there's plenty of these success stories around, but hold yourself accountable and reward yourself. But as you close off for the year, and this is the last call of the year before we come into 2020, just remember that you are in control of your own destiny. You are responsible for your own success. Ultimately, you have to put in the work to get that done. And providing you do, and you follow the plan that's been outlined in ASM, you will be successful, which is the formula for success. Clarity plus action equals success. So take some time. I really encourage you over the holiday period to really plan what that looks like for you. Get your plan in place and just work towards that daily.
Absolutely awesome, Dan. So I just want to, before I start waffling on, I just want to touch on 3 things that Dan brought up there. But before that, iGale just posted a question or a comment saying, very disappointed in myself as I completely fell off the wagon. I've never called it that before, heard it called that before, and now I'm left behind. This is a very, very common feeling. It's a very common thing to happen. Life does get in the way. But the beautiful thing about what Dan's talking about here is that, you are going to be able to succeed. It doesn't have to be right this minute. If something gets in the way, whatever it is, delay it, but always come back to it. Always keep moving forward, and try the whole yearly plan thing. So just to let you inside what goes on, Dan and I had a meeting about a week ago, all about ASM and how we can improve it. We haven't even finished this one, and we're talking about how we can improve it. And it's not so much the training, it's the things we're going to give you on top of all that. One of those things is the yearly plan. When Dan explained it to me, I've heard it so many times, but the way Dan explained it and the way he just explained it to you, it is so important to have those big goals, the goals that get you to the big goals, and the goals that get you to the goals that get you to the big goals. Dan, I'm just going to put him on the spot. I'm going to make him do a little bit of training on this, because obviously, like, just hearing it for 10, 15 minutes on a call, it should inspire you to do it. But I'm going to get him to do a little bit of training on it, and we'll either do it live on a call or we'll add it as a video. And that brings me on to something else, and that is this whole thing of being left behind. We're going nowhere. So the training's not going anywhere. Not going nowhere. My English teacher would shoot me. But it's not going anywhere. It's going to be there as long as ASM is alive. And believe me, I am going to do my best to make sure that lasts as long as I last. But it's going to be there. It's not going anywhere. Just as important, in fact, if not more important, the mentors are not going anywhere. They're still going to be in the community. They're still going to be there to help you. They're still going to be there on calls. So don't ever feel like, you're panicking. It's this business model. The beautiful thing about this business model is it continues to grow. When we first started 7 years ago, the number of products, I can't even remember, was nothing like it is now. And that, by products, I actually mean opportunities. Because Amazon still, the way to look at this, people always talk about saturation, okay? Here's why it's not saturated. Because Amazon is growing faster than the number of sellers is growing. So the number of opportunities is growing faster than the number of sellers, like starting Amazon. And the other key point to that is that most of those sellers have no idea what they're doing. They haven't been through ASM. They've got no structure. They've got no plan. They've got no mentors to help them. So they're basically, without wanting to sound mean about it, they're irrelevant to us. They're not competition to us. You've got the ultimate blueprint to succeeding, which is what Dan was talking about, and it's not going anywhere. Dan and myself, like I said, we're already planning on stuff that we're going to add to help you all succeed. At the end of the day, Dan talked about investing. It's like you've invested in yourself. It's not just investing in this course and in us. You're investing in yourself, and we want that investment to bear fruit. Because I've said it before in a couple of calls, and if you don't succeed, we're not succeeding. And believe me, we're pretty keen on succeeding. We like to be the number one out there, the best out there. That's what we strive for. It's what we've achieved. But moving forward, we need to keep getting you guys to succeed so we can keep that number one status. So, we're going to keep doing this. We've already got plans for adding more to the training too. So it's not just about the training. The other thing we've talked about, which we're going to do. So first of all, going back to the whole thing of, is this the end? Like, this is not the last call. It's the last call of 2020, but that's for the mentors, by the way. But it's not the last call we'll ever do. Like, we are moving forward now until we do another launch, whenever that is. I think it's planned for the middle of next year. We'll still be doing a coaching call, at least one call every single month. So, if you've got questions, that you'd like Dan or I to answer live, or the mentors to answer in the background, you're going to have that opportunity. On top of that, we're planning on adding at least one other live session. It might be training, whether it's for newer people or advanced people. We'll try and mix it up. You guys also seem to love the interviews we've done, so we'll probably throw in one of those as well. We'll find a successful seller, bring them on and grill them for you to get information from them. Most of those calls, there's always at least one absolute golden nugget, always. And I know there is, because every call I come away, I have at least one note written down going, do this, try this, test this, whatever. So we're going to be doing that. On top of that, Dan talked about accountability. We're trying to figure out the best way of doing this, because it is so critically important. You talk about accountability. I remember my favorite couple for accountability was actually Mike McCleary and Chuck Harmon, who's one of our mentors. They met, I think it was actually at the ASM1 event, and they happened to be sitting next to each other. They weren't mentors then. I'm pretty sure, well, Chuck was, but I don't think Mike was at that point. And they met, and we did this thing on stage where talk to the person next to you. They've now just become your accountability buddy, because that's all it takes. It just takes one person to make it worthwhile. Because at the end of the day, you get together, you set your next goal that you want to hit, and it doesn't matter if one of you is, I want to get my 50K badge, or something that leads to that, and the other person's just starting. It's basically having someone to say to you, have you done what you said you were going to do? Because most human beings, if you try to have accountability yourself, especially if you're like me, it's like, I'll have a goal. I must do this by next week. And then, you put it off and you put it off. but actually having someone there to go, you said you were going to do this, you need to do this. It's incredibly powerful. So we are working on figuring out the best way to deliver that for everyone. So stay tuned. I'm just trying to see if I missed anything. Not going anywhere, content coming out, monthly coaching calls, last call. That's actually it. But here's the thing. What Dan talked about, this is the crux of the matter when it comes down to it. Not so much the plan, but what he said about you've got the blueprint, but you have to make it happen. We are here 100% to make you succeed, to help you succeed. But we can't do the work for you. We can point you in the right direction. We can get you back on the right path, all those things. You've got the best training there is out there, but you have to make a promise to yourself. You have to take action, because I guarantee you, if you take action and follow through and keep moving, then you are going to succeed. It's the one thing that differentiates people who succeed and those that don't. It's because they didn't follow the training as it set out and they didn't take action. If you do those two things, you are going to succeed. There's too many people have succeeded with this program for it not to work. Like, we know it works. So you have to make a commitment. And you know what? It's Christmas next week. Forget it. But 1st of January, have this plan that you're going to get started if you haven't already, or you're going to go and get that product regardless. You're going to find that supplier regardless. You're going to place that inventory order. Whatever your next step is in this process, put it on your calendar. Get your smartphone out right now and set a reminder for the 1st of January, because Christmas is a pain in the neck. Bah humbug. Time-wise, it does consume a lot of time, and the same with New Year, or at least the days leading up to New Year. But the 1st of January, I want you all to go out there, set a reminder on your phone to literally get up off your butt and do something. Get the next step. I don't care whether you're earning 50K or 100K or whatever it is, or you haven't found your product yet. Whatever it is, commit to yourself January the 1st that you are going to work towards that next step and start taking action on that next step. Okay? You're all promising me? Good. All right, Dan, you can start answering questions now, dude.
Sweet. Cool. Let's jump in. So, first one from Sigarami. Would you please advise? I created the campaign based on module 4, lesson 10, and it's going to run for 10 days. And then after 10 days, if I turn it off, I can go back in a few weeks, duplicate and add more ad copy and make it active again, or do I have to create a new campaign? So I think the question is, can I disable my Facebook advertising campaign and then come back to it in a couple of weeks and turn it back on and create new ads? Yes, you can. You don't need to create a new campaign. So just toggle within Business Manager, click the toggle to deactivate that campaign when you want to turn it off. And then when you want to use it again, just turn it back on. And within the ad group, you can create as many new ads as you want within that same campaign. The whole point there is the pixel, Facebook's algorithm, the pixel is learning with those campaigns, and the more data it has, the better job it does of finding the correct people. So you want to use those campaigns over time and feed them as much data as possible, and the results will continually improve over time because the algorithm will be fed more data and find more of the right people. So yeah, just turn it off and turn it back on, and then add the ads that you need to add. Next one. These handles are amazing. Bukefi. My brand is an eco-conscious, and my first product's purpose is to reduce plastic usage. Yeah, it's a very hot topic right now. I decided to package my product set in a cotton bag, that's nice, and wrap it in craft paper sleeve, my logo and all that. Loved it. Now I'm finding that the cotton bag is not such a good idea for FBA, as I hear it's likely to get dirty or the string closure may get stuck on belts. Okay. Will craft paper bag like this work? My product is not fragile at all, with the exception of one well-padded, with one well-padded product. I won't say the product name. My manufacturer said they can apply my logo on the sticker in order to cause less of delay. Yes, that would work. So it's kind of like a craft paper parcel. With the bag, with the bags getting dirty though, I mean, I haven't heard of that. Tracy and the mental team in the background, I don't know if you've got any input on that in terms of sort of white cotton getting torn and stuff. Yeah, it can get torn in the back. I'm getting feedback in the background saying that people have had their like bags torn and stuff. I mean, if you find the right quality supplier, right quality products, then it might be okay. But yeah, no, that would work. That what you've suggested there in terms of the craft paper sleeve, like an envelope type thing, that would work. Just have to make sure that again, it's not going to rip or anything like that. But the packaging supplier that you're working with you should be highlight and raise these concerns to the packaging supplier and explain that you're concerned that they'll get torn and ripped in transit. I get that the white cotton might get dirty, so that's fine, but and just make sure you're getting the right grade of paper. That's not going to happen. So yeah, that might work. Okay, next one. How can some sellers be able to sell so cheap? When doing product research, there is no way one can compete with the prices. The trick is a huge order quantity, different sourcing platforms, or could the sellers be manufacturers themselves? That's from Tink UK. Yeah, so look, if you're competing in a market where it's been around 2 or 3 years, the price has been driven down a little bit. There's some big sellers on the page, then obviously they're buying in much larger volumes than you. So they're going to get cheaper prices. And yes, you do have manufacturers selling on the platform. It definitely does happen. In those instances, that basically the product's not viable. It doesn't meet the criteria and it's not viable. Look for another product, and you can revisit when you've got that buying power. And just make sure you're comparing like for like products. Is there any demand? So when looking at that product, calculate what price you would need to sell at for it to be profitable and viable, and then look at products that do sit at that price and see how many they're selling, and is that okay for you or not? Because yes, whilst you're competing on reviews and everything, you're competing with like for like products, but like for like pricing as well. So if there is anyone else on the page selling at that price and they are selling, then there is demand at that price, and that's where you're competing in that price bracket. So it's not that you can't enter that market. Just understand why those products are at that price and make sure you're matching the same quality, etc. Boo Kepper free. For my packaging, can I print my FNSKU barcode on a black sticker with my logo and made in China label, or would the FNSK need to be a separate sticker? So the FNSKU barcode, if you're going to print it directly onto packaging, it has to be on a white background. It has to be on like a white rectangle background. What they give you essentially when you download it out of Amazon Sell Essential, you have to put that into your design, and you can't mess with the white background around it. So you wouldn't be able to like invert the color and put it on a black sticker or anything like that. You'd need to put it in the white box that it gets downloaded in. If you're going to print UPC code and then put an actual physical sticker over the top, then obviously it'll be a sticker anyway, but it needs to be, I'm pretty sure they state it needs to be a white background on that sticker, so I wouldn't mess with that. Same person again. Would a bead or a metal tag on a bag be considered a choking hazard? You would need to check the documentation. I don't know the answer to that. Yeah, you'd need to check the documentation. If it's in the market for kids or baby, which I assume it is, then yes, I mean, I would consider it a choking hazard, and you might want to state that. But you'd need to definitely check what Amazon consider to be a choking hazard on that. Post that one in the community as well, because I'd be interested to see input on that. But yeah, I mean, if you're going into kids or baby, then absolutely. Iman, I was searching for suppliers of one of my 3 top products, but I didn't find enough suppliers that are manufacturing the exact same product, and they were all not verified. So I used RFQ, as Mike suggested in a previous coaching call. All the suppliers that texted me are not verified, but I like them in terms of communication. Do you advise me to avoid this product? I wasn't sure because it had, so it had a cloth in it. It's in the pet category. It had so it could be textiles. It's not that you need to avoid it. Like, if you really are passionate about that product, then order samples and just get a feel for the suppliers. Is it a good quality product? Is the communication good? Are they saying the right things? Do you get a good feel from them? Through the purchase order, make sure that you state that you're going to do a product quality inspection before shipping. And providing you take all of that sort of precaution towards the order, you should be fine. Obviously, we advise going with verified suppliers for the most part. But in this instance where you can't find any and it's maybe a newer product, I wouldn't shut down the product just because of that, because it might just be so new that it's not hit the major sort of manufacturing plants yet. But just take the necessary due diligence. In terms of textiles, yeah, the reason we generally avoid that stuff is because of all the variations that come out of it. But I think in your situation, you should be okay. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily move on because of that. I'd still explore it. Just take a bit more precaution towards that sourcing and that relationship piece. Okay, Ilan, is it now safe to use the two-step URL? Is it okay to use it without a URL rotator for one keyword? Can it be different percents off in ManyChat and have different two-step URLs just to type keywords without a rotator? Can this two-step URL using on social media hurt the conversion? Okay, so I'm going to address this because I saw this come up in the community a lot. About 6 months ago, yeah, it was about April time, there was a lot of stuff happening on Amazon where people were having their products and listings suspended for various reasons. So at that time, while that was happening, as a team, we were being very cautious towards what we were advising until we figured out what was going on. So at that time, Mike came into ASM10, updated the training and took the two-step URL out and took any keyword relevance out as well, as a way of just taking precaution while we're figuring out what Amazon were up to. Now, through an extensive process of looking into each case by case and wider sort of knowledge in the industry, we're across obviously a lot of brands ourselves. We very quickly came to the understanding that providing that not all of your orders are going through a keyword relevant two-step URL, keyword modified two-step URL, then you are, and that your orders are spread, and it's like, think of it like dilution, like maybe, don't quote me on exact numbers, but a certain 2 or 3 out of 10 orders are through a two-step URL, and the rest are like from other sources like your paid advertising, natural search find buys where customers are searching Amazon, finding your product and buying it, then that's okay. So now two-step URLs, we are taking the stance and we're advising they're absolutely fine in the approach we're teaching inside of ASM11. So inside of ASM11, we're taking a PPC first approach to launch, aren't we? So we're using paid advertising as the primary traffic source and then layering in the 2 steps with our promotions from Facebook ads into ManyChat. So providing you're taking that approach and not every single order is coming through a 2-step URL all through the same link, you're going to be fine. And to be honest, a large part of what was happening historically wasn't just to do with links. Everyone sort of focused on links, but it wasn't just to do with links. It was a combination of things, including all of your orders being through a high discount promotional code, which results in a high velocity of high discount promotional code orders. So if I get 10 orders and all 10 had 50 or above 70%, which is why we don't sort of advise anything more than 70%. We used to do 99%. So if all 10 orders had like 99% off, then that's a bit of a red flag, and that would then flag the account. So it's not that they're unsafe. It's just that we have to use them in a diluted strategy. And the way I've taught ASM11 is that because we're taking a paid advertising first approach, there's going to be a nice healthy mix of people searching Amazon, finding your product. I advise when working with friends, when you're first starting, for them to search Amazon manually. When you start getting visibility and rank on keywords, obviously you're going to be getting organic orders, your paid advertising orders, and then a certain percentage will be coming through your promotional into Facebook, into ManyChat through your 2 steps. So it's a diluted approach. We're not driving every single order through a 2-step URL. So yes, the answer to give absolute confidence, and I stand behind this, is 2-step URLs are fine, providing they're in that diluted approach. In terms of can you use it without a URL rotator for one keyword? Yes, absolutely. You don't need to rotate it across the terms. You will find it'll be more effective if you target sort of 3 to 5 overlapping keywords that have the same words in them, as I taught in the update on the training, because it's called the riders and tide. You're going to be targeting different purchase journeys, different keywords that all overlap, and they're all going to rise together. So it will be more effective than just hitting one keyword. But you can definitely just do a direct. You don't need to use a rotator. Can you do different percentages? Yes, you can do different percentages. If you watch module 6 in ASM11, that's what the Wheel of Fortune campaign is. It automatically randomizes 50, 60, and 70% off promotional codes. And by that very nature, it's automatically doing that. So it sounds to me, Elon, like you need to watch that stage of the training. So go and watch that. Will it hurt the conversion when using them on social media? Yeah, so when using links from social media, the reason we take people into ManyChat or to the social media promo code landing page that I taught that Amazon generates for you is we don't want to take them directly to the listing, because if they're going to decide not to purchase, then we want them to make that decision before they get to the Amazon listing, because that's going to generate a session. And unless we convert, then we don't want to lose that session. We don't want, it's going to hurt conversion. So yeah, we don't generally take people straight from like a Facebook ad or a social media post via a two-step directly to the page for that very reason. The only place you use a two-step URL is when you have high confidence that that person is going to actually purchase the product, is going to actually check out. And the reason we use them during our Wheel of Fortune ManyChat campaigns is because we're highly confident at that point. We're giving them a 50% off a coupon, a promotional code, I should call it. They're going to actually complete that purchase, which is why we use the two-step URL there. So the answer is no, don't use them directly from social. I hope that clears that up. I'll be posting on the community in that as well. Okay. Next one, Garland Hansman. Can you please explain the difference between SKU number and the ASIN? I've had a lot of trouble with my listing, my product specifically. ASC would not let me change the title we used in initial setup to search optimized title from module 5. I've been going back and forth with Amazon and now have ended up with 2 product listings. That's interesting. Both have the same ASIN but different SKU numbers. But both products seem to share the same listing page on Amazon. That means that the second product, which has the correct title, is not displaying, but all the information in the first product still, I can't get it changed. What I would say is raise, because this is a bit more of an in-depth one, let's raise that in the community. And we might need to get some more information on this. But in terms of the SKU and the ASIN, Amazon will give the product a SKU and an ASIN. Each one are unique into the product, but the ASIN's relevant to the listing. Yeah, the ASIN's relevant to the listing, and that's what where your review, like your reviews and everything that's captured for that listing is connected to the ASIN. So like when you create variations, for instance, as I cover in module 7, I think the ASIN then can be pulled across to a new listing. So to answer that properly, we need to investigate that, Garland, and raise it in the community, because we need to see exactly what's happened there. That'd be very difficult without actually seeing it. Okay. Iman, I tried Freightos for 2 products so far. It looks like the shipping price was always around $722. Is that normal? I tried different MOQs and different products. Yeah, so it depends on what you're doing there. If you're looking at air freight or sea, or it depends on whether it's air or sea. And the way that the quoting system works, it works in like volume and weight. So if you're falling within one bracket, you're probably getting the same quote until you go into that next tier, especially on the smaller orders. So try like just theoretically really increasing the size of the shipment, and then see if that changes from there. Next one, H. Fasur. I'm in the midst of calculating my profit margins for the 3 products. Could we know, how do we go about knowing the exact custom duty rate? You mentioned that might go until 25%, but for tracking's sake, you use 10. How would we know how much it is for my products? I'm afraid it might affect my profit margin if the customs duty is higher. Okay, so what you need to do is ask your freight forwarder, is probably the best person. You need to get the HTS code for the product. It's called a HTS code. And then using that HTS code, you can search the government website, the USA government website, find that code, and it will tell you what the duty rate is. But you need to get the HTS code for the product first. Your factory might know it, your supplier might know it. If not, your freight forwarder definitely will. So ask your freight forwarder for what that code is for the product, and then go find the duty rate. They'll probably be able to even just look at it for you quickly and tell you what that rate is. If you've used the ASM sourcing bonus, which I hope you have, then our team of agents will do that for you. Just ask the agent you get assigned what the HTS code and what the duty rate is for the product, and they'll do that for you. Next one. Can you please confirm if we have bubble wrap bag around the product but inside a box, whether there needs to be a warning label on the actual bubble wrap, it says can be on the outer box itself? I don't know the answer to that. Post that one in the community. I don't know the answer to that one. I need to look it up. Unless I'm just looking in the background. Mentals in the background. If anyone knows the answers to that, let me know. Next one, Shibism. Can you elaborate on how important liability insurance actually is? I mean, is it really risky to sell without it? I understand that there's always a risk and protect yourself is just good practice, but is it small risk? I'd rather not take out the insurance. I'm based in the UK looking for a product that has a plug, but I'm really put off by the idea that I need insurance. Look, it's your decision as a business and brand owner. I would advise getting insurance. God forbid something ever happened and you had a law case, like a law case taken out against you, then it would completely cripple you and your brand. So my advice would be go and get that insurance. It's just good business practice. I have insurance for everything we do, from business insurance to employee insurance to insurance for my brands. So definitely go do it. Now, for whatever reason, if you're really opposed to getting insurance, then find another product. Move on to a product that's not, you don't feel concerned about. But my advice would be to get insurance. It's part of the business, and I wouldn't take shortcuts on that sort of stuff. It's not going to get you anywhere, and it's only going to come back and kick you should anything go wrong. And God forbid if anything did actually happen, and the product actually hurt someone or actually affected someone, then you would want that insurance in place. So one, protect you and your business, but also take care of that person. It's just being a good human being. Okay, next one. Peter, could you talk about how the ManyChat changes affect the flows we created in earlier modules and things such as announcing the competition winner? So Peter, I do an extensive video on that. I think it's the first video of module 7. There are changes coming on January 15th. And yes, it's going to change the way we approach everything. The way we announce the competition is quite simple. We will use sponsored messages, which is the paid version of a ManyChat broadcast or a messenger broadcast. They're very cheap. So we'll use sponsored messages. If for right now, we can just use the 24+1, the follow-up message, which gives you one additional message to broadcast out at any time. And because you've likely brought them into your competition, congratulated them and said, hey, we'll let you know at the end of the month, you've still got one message to send them. So right now we'll send that. In terms of the follow-up process and asking for a review, etc., the reason the follow-up on the product insert asks for their cell number and their email address, because at that point it's an appropriate exchange of value to ask for that information, means that all we will do is start swapping out those flows that ask them if they got it and did they like it, etc., for SMS and email. And in the instance we really need to get some reviews in, we can use a sponsored message to do the same thing where we pay for that message. So that's a very simplistic approach. I'm going to be updating all of this in January. And then I've got some other ideas for how to get a lot more creative with it as well. Because if you think, as long as you've got 24 hours from the last point of engagement, so if we can find creative ways of engaging and keeping that person engaged, just long enough for them to get the product and use it, then we have that 24-hour period to ask for the review. But most likely it'll be swapping out the flow for a text message or an email. Peter, my product will not be live by the time I announce the competition winner. How shall I announce the winner in a positive way, as I don't have coupons to give those who lost? Any action is positive. So what I would do is flip the losers to say, hey, thank you for taking part in this competition. As for taking part in this competition, I'd like to reward you by giving you the chance to take part in our upcoming product promotion. We're going to be launching this product. This is the benefit of it, blah, blah, blah. We expect to be launching the product on January 10th, or whatever the date is. Would you like to take part in the product launch promotion, where you will receive up to 70% off via a coupon? And then do a quick reply or a button, yes, I'd like to take part, and then tag that contact when they click, yes, I want to take part. And then what have you got there? You've just created a highly engaged segment of people that already have the expectation to take part in your promotion. You've already told them what's going to happen. So when you come to launch, the conversion rate on those promotion codes that you give out is going to be a lot higher than normal, because they've already raised their hand and said, yes, I'll take part. So I'd probably just flip them and just get them excited. And then between now and that date, there's a couple of things you could do. Involve them in that process. So keep them updated of what's happening. If you can capture their email address, when they hit yes, maybe ask them for their cell phone number and email address. And then you could start emailing them updates. Hey, look, I've got the products here. You could do a video of yourself, put it on YouTube or something. I've got this video here. Look at it. It's looking really good. Can't wait to get this live and launched. And just keep them updated of the launch. And then by the time you come to launch, I mean, they're going to be raving fans ready to go. So that's what I do. You might even also put them over into a Facebook group or something and manage them there. Okay, next one. Matthew, product reviews versus seller reviews. How do you recommend handling a seller review placed in your storefront, especially if it talks about the product being great or high quality? I see you can reply via Feedback Manager in Seller Central. What do you recommend to say? Is it okay to ask the customer for a product review after checking they have not already done so? What is the best way to steer them to that correctly? When I sign into Seller Central, then Amazon.com, my regular buyer account is the same. Oh, sorry, that's part 2. Okay, so part 1 is how to convert seller reviews into product reviews. So Amazon have recently changed this. Up until recently, you could actually ask Seller Central to change that into a product review for you. Or you could contact them and ask them to convert it to a product review. We can no longer do that. Amazon have changed the way in which that works, and I believe the updated process. I'll have to check with my team on this. But I believe the updated process is now that when you let Amazon know that that's a product review, they just go back out to the buyer and ask them to review again. Mentors in the background. I haven't checked in on this stuff yet. So if you've got any feedback on converting seller reviews to product reviews with the new process, let me know. So I'd need to check with the team because obviously I'm not on that level of detail. See if anything comes through. We'll see if anything comes through. So I'll go on to part 2 and I'll come back to part 1 based on what the mentors say. But yeah, you can ask them to convert it, but it's just the process has recently changed. And I'm not up to speed on that yet. When I sign into Seller Central, then on Amazon.com, my regular buyer account is the same email as my seller profile, which I set up over a year ago. So not sure if you have a different policy on which email address to use. Is it okay? Or should I look at changing my username and email? To my knowledge, there's no issue with that. Like to my knowledge, there's no issue with having your buyer account and your seller account with the same email. To my knowledge, there's not. I'm just waiting for anything in the background in case we've ever had a member that's had an issue with that. But no, to my knowledge, you're okay. Rich, have you got an update on this seller review to product review? Because I haven't looked at the new system yet.
No, I'm waiting for the mentors. But on that question, if you've set up your Seller Central account with the same email as your buyer account, it's fine. You can change your username to your brand name.
Sweet. I haven't looked at the new process yet. My team have done it, but I'll get the answer for you in the community. Cool.
Yeah, that's you. That's the other reason I turned my camera on. Right, you can go and have a rest. Put your feet up. Okay, so let's start off with Jessica Moreno, 123. Could you explain, this is going to be a good one for the mentors. Could you please explain the type of LED lantern on the products to avoid list and the reason why it should be avoided? I am trying to figure out if the product I found is considered a lantern. I searched on Amazon, it looks nothing like the results shown, but it is an outdoor LED light. Thank you and happy holidays. Happy holidays to you too, Jessica. So the LED lantern that's on the products to avoid list is specifically that. It's an LED lantern. If you're talking about a different kind of LED light, outside light, then it's probably not the same thing. The reason it's on that list is because it became very saturated very quick. I guess it must have been about a year ago. It really took off. And what happened was we had a number of members who tried launching them and just didn't succeed. So that's a situation where we put a product like that onto the products to avoid list. So because we know, other people have tried to launch and it hasn't worked because it's been saturated. But if it's a different LED light, if it doesn't show up when you put LED lantern, then you probably will be okay. Tinko UK. So this is a really, really long question, but I can sum it up very shortly, I hope. I have some ideas for products that aren't selling anywhere, and I haven't found my first hot product opportunity yet. So then Tinko goes on to explain, can he look at these kind of products because he can't find one that matches all the criteria. So here's the issue. If you can't find anyone selling it on Amazon, then you've got no way of knowing whether it's going to sell well on Amazon. So it's the kind of product that you might do, 3 or 4 products into your brand, because you've got a lot more experience, potentially you've got more capital to play with, but it's a risky business because at the end of the day, if it's not on Amazon, if it's not already selling on Amazon, you just don't know. And yes, every product that sells on Amazon, there has to be the first one, right? And I know that's what everyone's thinking right now, or should be. But that's not what we're trying to get you to do. We want you to find an existing product that's selling well and sell that, because we know we have data, because of the criteria we give you, we know all you've got to do is rank that product, and you're going to start making profit. Trying to sell something that's basically not selling on Amazon right now is a little bit more tricky. So I wouldn't advise you doing it, especially for your first product. Same person, I can see some challenges with selling outside of residing country. Ordering products from competitors from the US, the UK is not the best choice. Is there any way around this? What would it involve to switch to Amazon UK? So I'll answer that last question first. If you want to sell in the UK, then you just need to open an Amazon UK account. And then you would need to start your product selection process using the UK because the numbers are different. The end of the day, if you live in the UK, it's a 50-50 choice in my mind, whether you start in the US or the UK. There are advantages and disadvantages. The advantage selling in the US is obviously a much bigger market. The advantage for you in the UK is you've said one of them, that you can order your competitors' products. You can see what they're doing, all that kind of stuff. Plus you can have the inventory sent to your house so you can look at it yourself before you send it to Amazon. So when you look at the factors on both sides, it really is a toss-up. If you live in the UK, whether you sell it in the US or the UK, so you can still make that decision now. If you've created your Seller Central account in the US, but have not started, you haven't ordered inventory yet, then you can look at the UK. That's not a problem. Ranjanav, something like that. I'm not able to add products to Seller Central. I've been in touch with Amazon and have not had a response yet. Could you please help me fix this? Also, my Save and Continue tab is disabled from the day one when I tried creating it. My product is almost ready. I'm waiting to create the NFSKU. Yes, we can help you, but I can't help you without more information. So here's what I need you to do. I need you to go and post in the community, tag myself and Tracy, tag us both. And then what we'll do is we'll get you into a private message. So because we're going to have to ask you information you're not going to want to share publicly. I'm not exactly sure what this might be, whether it's the brand issue, excuse me, or not. It could be, but anyway, so do that. Go ahead, post in the community, tag myself and Tracy, and either myself or Tracy, whichever one of us sees it first, will create a private message for you. And we'll try and help you get past this. Same person, I am securing my product box with bubble wrap. I think we've just done this one. Yep, we've just done this one. So I'm going to answer it again. I'm not sure if this is like this. I'm pretty sure this is exactly the same question. Just curious to know if it can stick the warning label and FSKU on the bubble wrap, or should that be placed on the product? It should go on the outside, so it goes on the bubble wrap. You can put it on both if you want, but basically you have to think of this as, how does Amazon receive it? So they're in this big box. Your products are all in this big box or crate or whatever it is. It arrives at Amazon. They pull one unit out of the box. How are they going to scan it? Okay, so whatever way they pull it out of the box, they have to be able to scan it, because they're not going to remove remove the bubble wrap or open it up so they can scan. It has to be on the outside. So if you don't have that barcode on the outside, I'm not entirely sure what would happen. They might well ask you to remove it, but that's the way to think of it. Just think of it logically, as though you were working at that depot, and you have to scan potentially 500 products using a barcode scanner. You can't lift up bits to look underneath and all that kind of stuff. And that's why it has to be visible. So yes, put both on the outside of the bubble wrap. Just make sure the bubble wrap is secure. Excuse me. Tracy, you can tell me if I got that wrong. Wow. B. Quep Furler. That's a new one. I've not seen your name before. For Amazon Tax Info, as a single member LLC with its own EIN, am I correct in putting tax classification individual, name, your LLC name, EIN, your LLC EIN? That sounds like Old MacDonald had a farm, LLC EIN. Anyway, yes, you're absolutely spot on. Specifically because it's a single member LLC. If it wasn't, then your tax classification would not be individual. I'm not a tax expert, but I do know that much because all my LLCs are single person and every single Amazon account has me set up as individual. Lakika Reed, I want to produce an activity book using Amazon's Author Central and sell it as my product. I don't know anything about Author Central, but I think it is print on demand. Does this sound like something that could work as a product if I do research, etc.? First of all, I know nothing about Author Central either. And that's because selling books is not part of the ASM business model. It's a completely different thing. Potentially there are some of the aspects of ASM training that you could use, but we don't talk about selling books. Yes, a book is a physical product, but it's not something we recommend selling using this business model. If you want to become an author, that's great, but I can't give you any advice except to say, if you want return on investment, find a physical product to sell following the ASM criteria. By all means, launch a book later, but it's not something you're going to succeed with using the ASM business model. After using Freightos, one of my products turns out to be unviable. Excuse me. After informing the supplier, they said they can give me a better price and I can use their freight forwarder. Excuse me, I'm just gonna have to mute myself to have a proper cough. I'm just going to check you guys can hear me because I'm seeing Dan frozen. So can you just pop in the comments?
Yeah, we got you. Rich, we got you.
All right, that was weird. Your screen frozen. I think it's push to turn your camera off. Okay, cool. Where was I? Yeah, we've done the book one. Okay, so this is really cool. So listen up, everybody. After using Freightos, one of my products turns out to be unviable. In other words, the shipping cost was too much. So after informing the supplier, they said they can give me a better price and I can use their freight forwarder to save lots of cost. Should I go for it? So this is quite beautiful in a lot of ways. And that is, this is kind of, you accidentally did a really cool negotiation tactic. You were actually just telling the truth. Whereas, if you felt like it, anyone out there, you can use this, you can say, I'm getting quotes. It's not going to be viable. I'm not going to be able to do this. It's too expensive, whatever. At the end of the day, they want your business. Now, the only thing I would question with what they're like, first of all, awesome that they're coming back and offering you a better price. The only thing I would be slightly wary of is using their freight forwarder. I'd want more information about who their freight forwarder is. But if just the price alone, if the price break they're offering you for the product means that your product now becomes viable, then go for it. And don't just stick with Freightos. There are other, I'm trying to think, there's another one out there where you can check freight prices too. But talk to your supplier. At the end of the day, if their freight forward is reliable, ask them for their name, their company name, go and check them out. See if see if they're reliable. See if you can find reviews about them. See if you can find info about them. But that is kind of cool because you've literally negotiated a better price without even trying, which kudos. But yeah, it's a good opportunity. If it works for you now with that new price, then yeah, why not go for it? And if you've contacted other suppliers, I think you might guess what I'm going to say next. Do exactly the same thing. Maybe even say, oh, and one of the other suppliers offered to drop the price and let me use their freight forwarder to make it more viable. you might get an even better price on one of the other suppliers. So negotiation, you want to get the best price you can. Just always remember, it has to be win-win. You still want them to win too. But the fact they've come back to you with that price, it's a good sign in my book. George B, nice easy username. There are 5 different sellers on Amazon who have been selling the product for 1 to 2 years. I found viable and I intend to go for it. Awesome. My question is, what is the possibility the product can become patented in the nearest future? If so, how can I protect my product as I plan to build a brand on it long run and invest time, money, and advertising in it? So if your product's already been selling for a couple of years and no one has got a patent on it, it's less likely that it's going to happen. As for protecting yourself, you can always get in touch with a patent lawyer and say, can I get a patent on this product? My guess is it's unlikely. It doesn't sound like it's a very unique type of item, but that's one way of protecting yourself. It's not something, at the end of the day, if there's other sellers out there, it's something I wouldn't be as worried about. But at the same time, if you're saying there are only 5 sellers, then that is a bit of a warning sign. So normally, put it this way, if I'm selling a product and I've got a patent or a trademark on it, that will be in my listing. So check that first, and then do the standard patent search that's covered in module 1, the end of module 1. Just do the standard search and just make sure you can't find anything that's showing up for that patent. But when it comes to patents, at the end of the day, it's like, you do have to be careful. Just check it out, see what you think. If you're desperate to go for this product, and you can't find any patents, if you're just not quite sure, then contact a patent attorney. And then it costs, we just did one, well, we did a trademark one, which I think is slightly more expensive. The cost is $400. But you might find a patent attorney who could do it cheaper. But just, do your, I'm gonna have to find another way of saying this, your due diligence or due diligence, whichever one's 2 of those it should be. Yeah, no idea. Ace to Gib. When I'm looking for competing products, I use keywords from primary product title and then 2 competing products when I'm looking for competing products, I use keyword from primary product title and then 2 competing products are within the ASM criteria. But if I use the same keywords plus 1 extra keyword, which is related to product's purpose of use, then 2 competing products are not within the ASM criteria. What should I do? So you use the main keyword for that product. If you're adding an extra keyword as a differentiator that doesn't show up the extra products, then that's less of an issue. I'm trying to think of an example off the top of my head. For instance, I can't actually think right now of a good example, but you're using the main keyword. That's what you want to be searching for. If it's a secondary keyword or a longer tail keyword and it's not giving you the same results, then you don't count that as much. When it comes to looking for competing products, you want the broadest keyword that matches your product. Hope that makes sense. Either I or L1 for 80. I tried to add another product to my listing as a backup plan since I'm not sure I'll go with my first product. Okay, I'm not sure why you're creating a listing if you're not ordering inventory, but anyway. Yeah, the sourcing program is taking some time. The price was too high for you. When trying to add the second product on Seller Central, I get some crazy message and it didn't let me do what I can. Let me do it. What can I do to add it in case I decide to go with the second product? Well, like I say, first of all, I'm not sure why you're adding a product before you're ready to order inventory. There's no point in adding a listing until you've done that, because you basically create your quick listing. You create that to get the FNSKU number so you can create the barcode to put on your product. As to why they're not allowing you to add the second one, there could be a myriad of reasons, whether it's in a gated category or it's a gated product. I've got no way of knowing without knowing what the product is. Need a bit more information about what crazy message means. So if you can post in the community and give us some more information about what crazy message means, then I might be able to help you. But don't, guys, whoever's, if you're watching this, until you're certain about your product, there's absolutely no need to create a listing. The only time you'd ever even go into that is it will give you an idea of whether a product is in a gated category or not. But don't ever do a full listing unless you're ready to order the product. Yeah. Anup Kumar 1070. My question is about module 1. I am unable to appreciate that the number of reviews is indicative of competition. Why a large number of reviews mean more competition and vice versa? Can you please explain? So it's part of it. It's not the sole way we mark competition. There are other factors too. But at the end of the day, if the top 10 products have 1,000 reviews, then it's going to be really hard to get into that top 10 because you're going to have to get close to 1,000 reviews. So that's why, that's why we're using that. Sorry, that's why we only use that when we're coming to narrowing down our 3, to help pick the best ones. So strictly speaking, it's definitely not the only indicator of competition, but it is a mark of competition in terms of, you have to get whatever place. The way to think of it is whichever position in the search rankings you want to take, you're probably going to have the same number of reviews as that person, as that product. So that's why, we use it as a competition, a gauge of competition. Ahmed Tamur, would you please advise on the error 5665 that many members face to add their brands in Seller Central? So I think this is the one when you try to add your product, it's coming up saying you need to register your brand, something along those lines. It's been happening off and on for about 6 months, and it seems to start happening and then it disappears. It's got to be, the only thing we can surmise from looking at all the situations of the people that have had this is that it's some kind of glitch. The first thing you need to make sure is that your brand name is not in your title, just like the training, when you first create your quick listing. And if you then put in your brand name as manufacturer and brand name and it gives you that error, then there are a few things you can do. I should probably create a post on this to make it simpler for everyone, because there's a couple of little tricks that sometimes work, sometimes don't. But a combination of trying them all will get you through it. But as long as you've got your my UPC, my brain went dead. As long as you've got your UPC from either from Nationwide or you've done it through GS1, there shouldn't be an issue. At the end of the day, it's not the UPC code. If you're having issues with the UPC code, make sure you put a 0 in front of it. If I can't remember how many numbers it is now, but if it doesn't work, try adding a 0 in front of it, because that's what they're used to seeing as a UPC code, 0, and then followed by a bunch of other numbers. I will make a post on this, but some of the things are, for instance, try saving the listing again, but in the brand name bit, just put the first letter of the brand name. And Tracy's just jumped in, 12 without the, 12 without the what? Oh, without the 0. All I could see in my notifications was like a C. So yeah, so it's 12 without the 0. So, if you've got 12 and it didn't work, add a 0 at the front. And I've just totally lost track of what I was saying. Yeah, so some ways of getting around it. So instead of putting your full brand name, if you got this error, that is, then remove it all except the first letter. Just add the first letter, try saving it. A lot of times that works. If it doesn't, try removing the brand name and putting NA. Sometimes that works. If none of those work, then post in the community and we'll try and help you. But a lot of the time, a lot of people who've got past this, that those 2 tricks didn't work for, they basically contacted Amazon after a short period, not a short period of time, after about a week, it got rectified. But if in doubt, just go ahead and post in the community. There's a few threads, I think, already existing along these lines. Another one from Ahmed. After launching first product in the US market, is it better to launch a second one in the same market or introduce the first product to other markets as well? Good question. My personal opinion, and what most people tend to do, is carry on in the same market you're in. You want to sort of establish some kind of brand recognition in the market you're in before I would advise selling in another country. So, maybe 2-3 products in, you could look at then selling in the UK. because you want credibility, you want brand recognition before going to launch in the other market. So yeah, that's my opinion. And I think you'll find it's most people's opinion. It's like build the brand where you are first, and don't sort of, because you want to focus on that brand in that country. You know, if you try and sell, if you're in the US and then you try to start selling in the UK, you're losing focus. It's going to take more time and all those extra things. So concentrate on the market you're in first. And the last question, and it's another pattern one. Awesome. Marge Elenif, the patent search confuses me. Could you tell, with your 7 years amazing experience, how many ASM members have had a serious patent issue after ordering their inventory? I can't give you a number. It has happened. And at the end of the day, if there's any question about the patent, just walk away from it. There's too much at risk for you. You know, you could launch that product, have no problems. You could start building it up. It could start doing really well. You could then think, right, my business is growing now. I'm going to add another product. You add another product, and then boom, someone hits you with a patent infringement, and then you lose your main product, and then you're left, you know, kind of stranded. So it's super important you don't go down that route. You know, I can't tell you how many people, enough that this is in the training. It can happen. Also, what you might find is someone might, you know, if you haven't, I'm just trying to think of the best way of putting this. At the end of the day, there's enough products out there for you to launch and be successful with without running the risk of a patent infringement. I think that's just the best way of putting it. And yes, people have had serious issues, like having your product taken down and never getting it back. Losing all the inventory because you've got no way of selling it. You know, the only way you could do is send it to yourself and then try selling it on, I don't know, eBay or somewhere like that. It's critically important you stay away from any kind of product with any kind of patent. Hope that's nice and clear. So that is all my questions. Let me just see. I'm just looking at the mentors to see if there's any other question I need to answer. The answer is no. So let me see now. My one job. I can't remember if I missed it last week. Community helpers. So let's get the community helpers up. So again, like we do this every week. If you're new to the ASM, this is your first call, or if you've been around for 8 weeks and this is your first call. Every call we try and reward members for being helpful, being encouraging. You don't have to know all the answers, but just being active in the community, because it's so important you do that. And basically we have some runners up who get the coveted community helper badge, and then a first prize winner who also gets a coaching call with one of the mentors. This week, here are the runners up. And by the way, we're going to do this on the monthly calls too. It's going to continue. This isn't the last one we'll ever do. And the runners up are Karina Scheinemann, Kiki Leng, I think, Sharon Cho 80, Ivan _ Nelly, and Tinko UK. Awesome. We should have given you this a long time ago just for asking all the questions you asked, because, you know, even though you're getting the direct benefit, everyone benefits from the questions you ask, because, you know, it's likely to be a question someone else will ask. So you should have got that just for your contributions on the coaching call, asking questions. And then also Zara again, ZAARA. I think, and I didn't have time to check, I think you've actually won an extra call before. If you have, I'm sorry, you can't get a second one, but thank you for your continued support and helping everyone. But if not, this week's winner is actually Max Malchev. And it's probably long overdue. I've got a funny feeling that name's been around nearly every time we do this. So Max Malchev, that's what, why am I saying Max Mal? Max Malchev, and I hope I got it right the last time. You've won not only, well, I think you've probably already got a community help badge, but you've won a coaching call with one of our mentors. So congratulations, and thank you all for everything you do. All the members that are in that community and are active. You know, you don't have to know all the answers. Even if you're just popping in to encourage people, that's absolutely fine. And being in the community a lot, I guarantee you, is going to help It's going to increase your chances of being super, super profitable and having a great business. So do take the time to go and visit the community, even if you're just browsing through and looking at other people's questions and stuff. And Dan, have you got anything you'd like to leave us with this last year? I was going to try and do the Birmingham accent 2020 again, but I won't.
That's the hangover coming through.
Well, that was pretty good. But go ahead and then I'll close out.
Yeah, no, really just take note, guys, of what I spoke about at the front there. So many people skip that step towards sort of laying out a vision and a plan because they think, oh, I'd rather just get to the work. But to be honest, you lay out that plan and you don't have to do as much work and you don't waste as much time trying to figure out what work you need to be doing. So and the end result, the net gain of doing the plan up front is a much faster path to success. So yeah, take the time, like enjoy the holidays with the family. I know I'm going to do that, but really take the time to sort of sit back, think, and set your intention for 2020. And I can't wait to see you in the new year. 2020, new year, big year for everyone on the call. So it's going to be fun.
Yep, absolutely. 2020, that was closer. Anyway, guys, it's been amazing having you all with us for these 8 weeks. But it doesn't end here. You know, you've heard me waffle on about it. I won't do it again. You know, we're going to continue to have these calls. We love doing them. Hopefully you get that from us. You know, we enjoy doing them. We enjoy helping you guys out. We try and have a bit of fun when we can. And we're going to continue doing them. And look, Dan's doing a little dance for you.
I just thought I should have a Santa's hat on. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Well, I know why I didn't think of that because I was out.
Both forgot about that. I'm trying to see. I haven't got anything Christmassy, not even a star in here. It's a rented apartment. Like it's not even a rent. It's an Airbnb. But yeah, so first of all, got some huge thank yous. So first of all, Caleb's in the background. He runs these video calls. He makes sure we don't mess up. He makes sure we don't lose the calls. He does a phenomenal job. And then he also, you know, he's the one who gets them ready to be posted so you can all watch them as a replay. So thank you, Caleb, so much. And Merry Christmas to the amazing mentors. I'm going to name all of them. They're not always on all the calls, but I'll name them all in order of my preference. And I'm kidding, but we're going to go male first because we've only got one male, and he always gets forgotten. It's like, you know, we've got what, the Queen of Wisdom, the Empress of Knowledge, all this kind of stuff. And poor old Steve, he never gets like the credit he deserves. So Steve, the Swedish chef, thank you so much, buddy. You're an absolute star for everything you do for our members. So thank you so, so much. And yeah, Tracy, Joanne, Lane, yeah, them too. I'm really glad Elaine's not on this call. She'd kill me for saying that. But yeah, Tracy, you always shine on these calls. You're always there. You always have an answer, which is insane. Joanne, the same. You know, me and Joanne have been doing ASM mentoring since ASM1, and Steve actually, which is 7 long years. And we still like each other, which is really bizarre. Normally like people stop liking me after about a week. But anyway, they've been with us all along. You do a fantastic job. And so all our other mentors too, you know, not necessarily just the ones that are on this call. They all do a fantastic job. I hope you guys all realize the amazing resource they are for you, because, you know, without them, ASM would not be what it is. So I just want to say that. And also, Dan, thank you for the last 6 calls, even though you missed the first 2. You've been truly awesome. Coming on and doing these calls, it's an experience, I think you'll admit, especially like the first one. But you've grown into it. You've replaced Mike like that. Like I've even forgotten who Mike is.
Who's Mike?
Well, I hope he watches this, so he heard me say that. And that is it for this call. Thank you again. Thank you all so much for being here. I want to wish you all a huge Merry Christmas. And as Dan said, we're looking for an amazingly profitable new year in 2020. So thanks for now. We'll see you probably the 2nd or 3rd week in January on another one of these calls. And watch out for new content that we're posting, either in the community or via email, but it'll come directly from us. But we'll see you all soon. Take care, man.
Cheers, guys. Merry Christmas.